No way. No way. This means baseball's back.
It's back, baby.
Do I have to let out a yell?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. It's Team Profile and Projections brought to you by T-Mobile. We're back, baby. Slightly different format this year. I don't want to say we're taking it, maybe pacing ourselves this spring training, trying to build up, because we got a long season, Coach. We got October innings coming. TPPs, this first couple rounds, we're going to kind of knock off a few teams at a time. So teams 30 through 26, that's right. We're going to chip away at those today, give each of them around 10 minutes or so. Some of them don't have that much, and your fan bases would agree with us. Coach Trev, you ready to go, man?
This is scary season for me for sure. I got like goosebumps when that track came on right there. I started bumping my head, but I was also scared there, Jake. This does mean we are back. Look, and you know what? I know this is 30 through 26 as voted by our listeners. Right. You got to make sure that people know that. But I think there is some interesting stuff to talk about with these teams.
Well, with all of that, let's do it. Your 30th ranked team is my Kelsey Wingert's Colorado Rockies. Last year, you guys all remember, they went 43-119. That was 50 games back. They ended up missing the playoffs with that. Worst record at home, worst record on the road, worst record against teams above 500, worst extra innings record. It was bad. It was really, really bad, Coach. They were worse in on-base percentage, worse in ERA, as bad as it gets. And, I mean, they lost guys, and maybe addition by subtraction. The Colorado Rockies lost German Marquez. He'd been there for a long time. Angel Chivili to my Yanks, Bradley Blaylock, Yanquiel Fernandez. I mean, we're getting deep early. Kyle Farmer, your guy. Warming Bernabel. Michael Tolia. He went from it happens quick in baseball that those are the guys out. Who's in for these Rockies, Coach Trev?
They brought some names in, Coach. You're going to know some of these guys. How about my other best friend, Willie Castro? Comes over on a 2-year, $12.8 million deal last year in Minnesota, then got traded to the Cubs there at the end of the year. A versatile, kind of can play anywhere. I like him as a player. I think he's going to do well in Colorado. Jose Quintana, 1 year, $6, comes over from the Milwaukee Brewers. 24 games last year to a 3.96. We'll see. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening with the pitching there, but a nice veteran to help your rotation out. Speaking of veterans, how about Sugano coming over from Baltimore on a 1 year, $5.1 million deal? 30 games started last year to a 4.64. And then another veteran, Michael Lorenzen here, 1 year, $5 million with a club option for 2027. That's an interesting one. I didn't know that. Last year with Kansas City, 27 games, 26 started to a 4.64. They made some trades as well. They brought in Brennan Berardino from the Red Sox. They brought in Jake McCarthy from your Snakes. And then how about my guy, the Frenchman, Eddie Julien comes over from the Minnesota Twins. I got some interesting things to say about that. Pearson Ole in the same trade. Then we're getting down to some waivers. Troy Johnston, Keegan Thompson. Kyle McCann comes over on a minor league deal. So they brought in a lot of players, Jake, which brings me to the lineup.
Yes.
And this lineup.
Yes.
By Fangraphs. I can get behind the top of the line.
Okay.
I know people do not want to hear me say that. Shortstop, Zeke Tovar, man. He's got a chance to be a really good player. He's had some ups and downs to start the career. Mickey Moniak, banger of a year last year as your DH. A guy that we all love. Hunter Goodman in the 3-hole catching. Jordan Beck, who I think is a guy that you got to look to see, are there going to be steps forward this year for him? He looks the part, that's for sure. He'll be in left field batting fourth. Troy Johnston, claimed off of waivers from Miami. He'll be at first base most likely. Brenton Doyle out there roaming center field. I mentioned Willie Castro. He'll probably be lining up at third base. And then McCarthy in right field. They have Eddie Julien listed at second base. Could that be Idael Amador situation. So I think I saw his debut. Not too sure about that. On the bench, Braxton Fulford. He's the backup catcher. Maybe that's a McCann situation there. Blaine Krim, Ryan Ritter, and Tyler Freeman round out the roster. Jake, tell me about the rotation.
Pitching-wise, we have familiar faces. Kyle Freeland got Colorado tattooed all over him, literally. Michael Lorenzen, who wants to pitch at Coors, go get him. Quintana, like you mentioned. Chase Dollander, he can twirl the pill. Tennessee, let's go. And Tomoyuki Sugano. So we got 3 MLB starters from 3 other teams from last year. In the bullpen, going backwards, Victor Vodnik. Okay, there's some funk there. There's some stuff. Jimmy Herget had an amazing year last year. 80-plus innings, ERA in the 2. That doesn't happen. Halverson's got some stuff. You mentioned Bernadillo, Juan Mejia. It starts thinning out. Senzatella has found himself in the bullpen. Keegan Thompson, RJ Petit. Those are your Colorado Rockies, Coach Trev. It's tough. This is the first team we're starting with for a reason. I think even loose baseball fans could tell you what this team has done the past couple of seasons has just been horrendous, and it sucks. I lived out in Denver for 4 or 5 years. The stadium's awesome. It's great fans, man. They love their sports teams. Denver's sneaky isolated on a map. If you go look at it, that region gravitates to Denver sports. And unfortunately, the Rockies coming out of the Arenado, Trevor Story area just have not been like a respected franchise competitively. And Trev, I think the biggest storyline that you want to talk about is they actually retooled. They had kind of the same front office running this thing, and there's layers to it and layers that you hate as a sports fan, that they were just kind of golfing buddies that, didn't really mind what was happening organizationally. Well, they cleaned the house. They brought in some new people on every front, and hopefully, I don't know what we'll see this year, but hopefully we'll see something in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean, insular was a buzzword around the Rockies, hiring from within, really not kind of following the trends of baseball, and I mean that in a negative way, not adapting to the information age, if you will. So yeah, I mean, they went outside the box. Every single hire they brought in, which was a lot, they besides the interim manager, they're from outside the organization, and starts out with Paul DePodesta, Moneyball Paul, Jonah Hill's character. After a bunch of spending the time with the A's and kind of doing a bunch of different things in baseball, was with the Cleveland Browns. So a smart guy who just understands sports and how to run teams, has pretty much been in every single kind of a role that you can have. He comes back over, and I think the gist of what we're trying to say is these guys are excited about what we talk about all the time and trying to figure out Coors Field, because there's been talk about it. Lorenzen has said the same thing. Like there's a challenge there that I think a lot of these guys who are very smart feel like it's like a frontier out there. Like if you can go out there and figure out Colorado, you're going to make a name for yourself. We joked before the show, like, is there going to be a second Paul DePodesta movie in the works if this works? He brings in Josh Burns, a longtime executive from the Dodgers. We got guys coming over from the Mets. Their staff is all new, coming over from Alan Leitchman, coming over from the Marlins. We got Matt Bushman running the pitching department. All these guys are coming in from outside the organization. And Lorenzen had a quote saying, like, I know a lot of these guys, and they're all like outside the box thinkers, which is exactly what the Rockies have needed for quite some time. They just haven't had that. And it's crazy to think that hasn't been kind of the way they've gone with just the extremities of Coors Field. So I want to talk about one guy in particular, talking about Leitchman. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. He's the guy, if you remember last year, we talked about this, Jake, that was in the Marlins dugout calling pitches. So do we see that right away in the Rockies organization? I think the quotes on that from DePodesta is, hey, we're open to anything right now. We're trying to just improve no matter what. So like it is a straight up open box, and we'll see if these guys can figure anything out about playing there. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and again, as we get to the over-under here, and I hope we're talking about those. I hope there's another Paul DePodesta movie or one of these pitching guys. And hey, when I've gotten my most frustrated about these Rockies over the past few years, it's been because they haven't tried anything. Like try kooky stuff until you figure it out. I don't know how kooky they're gonna get. I'll tell you what, though. I see major leaguers in the rotation. I don't know what it looks like, and that ballpark can be really tough on you. The lineup, I know we're not looking in a Lycan. Zeke Tovar, can he bounce back and be the young, talented shortstop he proved to be? Can Hunter Goodman follow up on what was a special, like, catching rookie campaign? Again, this is where Colorado's sick. Like, if Hunter Goodman was on a lot of other teams, we'd be screaming, like, one of the best young players we've seen in baseball. His home runs last year, like the only player that I saw him get compared to was Piazza's rookie year or something as a young catcher. That NL West catchers who hit 30-plus homers in a season, Piazza and Hunter Goodman, since 1960. So, like, I don't know, man. Bretton Doyle, who he had some personal problems, like, heading into last year, like, hopefully... When I look at this lineup, I see a lot of guys that want to point at each other. Or, excuse me. I see a lot of guys with an opportunity to be like, I'm not the problem. Like, Eddie Julian, man, remember how excited you were for that guy? And it passed the eye test. Like, real eye, real pop. Like, it thought the only question for him was going to be, where's the position going to be? He gets another hack at it. Jake McCarthy changes scenery. He's got some good stats there. Mickey Moniak, he kind of already did it offensively a little bit. That you hope that they just they need the vibe, man. You can't, like, try to lose less than 100 games and see how that feels compared to losing 119. And I don't know if they're going to do that, to be honest.
It's gonna be a long one. I forgot to mention Gabe Rebos. He spent time with the Tigers and Dodgers. I'm going back to the coaching staff, and the guy that came over from the Twins, Matt Daniels. He was one of the original Driveline employees, and that's the guy that Lorenzen's really excited to work with. So, again, they're going to be trying different things. Kyle Karros, who is Eric Karros' son, is in the organization. Got a shot there. And have you seen Zach Veen roped up in spring training?
Yeah,
he's got not a fun story, a compelling story. So, a guy that you're probably rooting for. But yeah, it's going to be, I don't know if interesting is the right word, Jake. They got their, it's going to be tough.
Trev, the DraftKings over-under for the Colorado Rockies coming into this season is 53.5. It's one of the lowest bars I've seen set. You going over, you going under?
You know how I do these things. I just can't imagine a team losing that many games.
Lot.
That would put them at 108.5 losses.
I think so. Right? I think you nailed that.
Did I
Math guy, yeah. 43 wins last year, so they would need to improve by 11 wins. Kind of crazy when you
take me over.
Trev, I think people are going to call us nuts. I'm with you. Be a baseball team. Change the feel. Like, go out. And again, the thing with Coors Field, and I should save this for another day. End of the day, you're playing baseball against another team. Figure out how to beat them on that day at that field. And, like, stop letting the field win. Like, go look at 2018, 2017. There was just good players on that team. That's kind of the secret. Hopefully, we're talking about them in a different tenor next year. For now, it's time to talk about your Washington Nationals, the 29th ranked team. Man, we were kind of on this last year. We wanted to be excited. We saw the roster. They finished 66 and 96. One of the second worst home record. God, the pitching, not there. The whip, not there. The offense, the defense. Pretty much every facet, Trev, that I think the conversation here is sadly similar to Colorado, which the Nationals thought they were rebuilding. They thought they had this young talent. Out of town, Josh Bell, Twins. Mackenzie Gore, who gave them 160 impressive innings last year. Jose Ferrer, who was impressive on the back end. Paul DeYoung, Derek Law, Pilkington, a couple other relievers. That's who's out of town. Who's new in the zoo?
Well, they brought in Foster Griffin, who was in the Japanese league last year. 13 games started, 1.62 ERA. So you like that? Okay, that's a nice little start, we think. Miles Michaelis comes over. A 1-year, $2.25 million deal. Another St. Louis guy out the door there. He pitched 31 games last year, 156 in the third innings pitched to a 4.84. They got Harry Ford, the catcher, in that trade, the Ferrer trade to Seattle. Didn't spend a lot of time with the big league club last year. Also, Isaac Lyon comes over in that trade as well. Andre Granillo in a trade from St. Louis, acquired from the Cardinals. Like I said, 14 games last year, 21 innings pitched to a 4.7. They have some waiver claims. Richard Lovelady, Paxton Schultz, Joey Weimer, Gus Farland, our guy. Why am I blanking on it? Louis Varland's brother.
Wow. I feel like I knew that, but I didn't.
Yeah. Then some minor league signings, but that is who they've brought in. They've kind of been looking at guys in the organization to step it up. And speaking of that, I have the Fangraphs lineup, which
some guys.
Okay, there's some people here. James Wood, go check the Savant page out. Look at the season he had last year. He's on my Homer draft team. He's a stud. I think there's room for improvement in the game. So love that for him. CJ Abrams still there at shortstop. Dalen Lyle, a lot of people like this guy a lot in the outfield there. Dylan Cruz, what can you be for us, guy? I think we're going to say that for a lot of these people. Luis Garcia Jr., who we've seen in the big leagues for some time. He's there. What can we expect out of him? Kyber Ruiz at catcher, Brady House at third base, Nasim Nunez at second base, and Jacob Young in center field. He can really go get it. On the bench, we have Drew Millis. Need a pronunciation chart on this, because this one's going to give me another one. Andres Chaparro, Jose Tena, and Joey Weimer on the bench. Some names to watch: Riley Adams, Harry Ford. We'll see where he slots in there. Matt Mervis. Robert Hassel III, what are you going to be, my guy? Trey Lipscomb, what are you going to be, my guy? That's the lineup, Jake. Tell me about the rotation.
Yeah, maybe we keep talking about the lineup. Miles Michaelis could be the 1-1. Might be your opening day starter. Cade Cavalli, pitching for Team Italy, I believe, WBC. Brad, the word of our Lord. Josiah Gray coming back from injury. We like that. Jake Swervin Irvin, and you mentioned Foster Griffin. We're fighting for spots. Let's figure it out. In the bullpen, Clayton Beater ended up putting together a nice second half last year. And then I'll be honest with you, Trev. I mean, I see Dick Lovelady down there. I see Gus Varland, Cole Henry, PJ Poulin, Julian Fernandez, Jake Elder. I don't know. Ciano Perez ended up there, like his arm. This Washington Nationals team, Coach, I think, like I said, the story shockingly isn't far off from Colorado. We brought in a whole new front office, new manager, very young. I guess the thing that is different is there's a few names on this Nationals team. CJ Abrams is a very talented ball player. We've seen it. He's still young. CJ Abrams is 25. Like, what else could be in there? James Wood is an elite level ball player. Dalen Lyle broke in. Dylan Cruz was the 2 pick after Skeens, and that was a debate because it was the classic like position player versus a starting pitcher. Dylan Cruz, we got to see something. If Jacob Young can hit at all, what he can do defensively makes him worthwhile. That there's some things here, but at the same time, there's not, Coach Trev. That it's going to be interesting to see how the front office navigates this, basically in their second rebuild back-to-back.
Yeah, I mean, this is just all about acquiring young talent and seeing what they got. The Mackenzie Gore trade brought back 5 guys from the Rangers. They really like Gavin Feen there, who a lot of people project as like long-term answer at shortstop for them. They have a bunch of different guys. I was reading an article on, let me get him up. Where is it? Seaver, who had a strong showing in the Arizona Fall League. But that's what we're working with here. Is like what kind of returns are we getting for the trades? What are our young prospects going to end up being? And then we'll see what happens. I think they got to eventually try to lock up a James Wood. Like, I understand he's got years of control left, but every single year this guy has the year like he had last year, kind of ticks up. And eventually you want to name some cornerstones of your organization. I mean, at least that's how I play the game. It's a complete overhaul. We talked about the Rockies and kind of what they did with their front office right now. Ages for the new Nationals leadership. President of Baseball Ops 35, GM 31, manager 33. That's like unheard of in this sport. It's unheard of in this sport. So we're getting just, I want to say this is like trial by fire, man. Like with everybody. And that was Butera's, the manager, Blake Butera's message was like, hey, this is like a clean slate for everybody. And we're going to go in there and just like have open competition essentially. So yeah, like we get excited about some names with the Nationals, but we have no idea what we're going to get. We have no idea what their lineup's going to look like at the end of the year, depending on who steps up. There's talent in the organization, but is it big league ready and ready to make a run? No, it's not.
No, I think for me, we did this last year. It's just a shocking drop off because it's like, okay, if you've got Abrams, Wood, and if I can still dream on Cruz and I can dream on Lyle and Young, it's like, normally the next tier from there is some other guys where you're like, okay, maybe that light bulb will go on. And I don't know what to tell you. Like right now, third base, Brady House is listed, 22 years old. He was their first overall pick in 2021. I'm not seeing a ton of hype on him. I hope that changes, but I don't, man. And I don't know. As we go through these pitching staffs, like one of the quotes out of spring training is 20 candidates for the bullpen. I'm not taking that as good news, unfortunately. Like I'm worried that I hope Cade Cavalli is over his injuries and he can be a breakout star this year. I hope Josiah Gray comes back in the picture. One of the nicest cats I've ever met in or outside of baseball. But man, this talent isn't here, and they're planning on doing a full rebuild, and they're committed to it. Like you could say that with all those young guys in the front office and coaching staff, but also, what does that mean in a packed NL East still? It feels like every year that I don't know. It felt like last year we were hoping to enter a new era of Nationals baseball, and instead we turned the Xbox off and turned it back on again. That I don't know what the product's going to look like in Washington this year.
Gavin Fiend, Eli Willits, Seaver King was the guy that I was looking at who made some adjustments in the AFL. Like look, it's prospect season. That's not our lane, Coach.
It's not. What is our lane? The DraftKings over-under for these Washington Nationals is 65.5. So, again, I compared them to the Rockies a lot, but this Vegas has them winning 12 more games. I'm going to cut you off at the pass. I'll go quick under because I don't.
What's the last year's total?
Last year, your Nationals won 66 games, 66 and 96. So it's right at last year.
Mackenzie Gore out. I know they struggled at the end of the year. Young team. I'll go under. I think it's just under. I'll give him 63 wins this year.
I mean, I know we used to throw locks around it, and I don't want to throw around one too early, willy-nilly.
Really?
Trev, I know we talk about it and how you need to be if you're a capable team, like getting that 60 wins in can happen kind of easily. I just don't know, and I don't know how this. It feels like this Abrams story has to go in a direction. I hope I'm completely wrong for the city of Washington. And hey, I do see the path, right? Like if Cruz, Abrams, Young, and one other player clicks with James Wood, you have a building thing there. But that's a lot early.
It's a lot of ifs.
What if something goes the
other way? A lot
other
of ifs
way?
going on. Yeah.
Trev, the good news is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I think we're already entering a slightly different tier, and maybe we've been blinded by a somewhat winning offseason by your 28th ranked Chicago White Sox, 60 and 102. last year. Hey, here's an early spin zone. 15 and 36 in one-run games. What's going on there? Again, offense, bottom 3 in a lot of categories. Pitching, slightly more respectable. But, Trev, the Chicago White Sox have, they left being one of the worst teams we've ever seen to still not great, but we have some hope in the South Side. We did lose a couple guys, including Luis Robert. So, that era is over. Cuban Mike Trout and where that landed is kind of crazy. They did get some parts in for that. And then around the field, Mike Talkman, Martin Perez, Michael A. Taylor retired. Congrats. Nice career by him. Brian Hudson out, Steven Wilson, some other relief pitchers, Tyler Alexander. So, Trev, a lot of bodies have moved, but again, there's excitement with who came into town.
There was some shocking moves, I think. If you're a White Sox fan, you're like, we signed that guy? And that's a really good thing, because there are some names here that'll get you excited. Munetake Murakami, I don't think anybody had the White Sox on the board for him. He ends up coming over on a 2-year, $34 million deal from Japan last year in 56 games. He dotted it, Jake. 56 games, 22 homers. People are worried about the swing and miss. If this guy can launch balls into orbit, who cares? Let him swing and miss a little bit. My goodness. Okay. Seranthony Dominguez was another kind of head scratcher there, but we talked about this on our program. Like, if you're a young team trying to figure out ways to win baseball games, have a decent back end of the bullpen, because there's no quicker way to lose steam than by giving up leads late in games. He comes over 2 years, $20 million deal, and a mutual option tacked on there in 2028. He was in Baltimore and Toronto last year. Anthony Kay signs for a 2-year, $12 million option, another mutual in 2028 for $10 million. He came over also from Japan, where he had 24 games started, 155 innings thrown. You got to love that. To a 174. Okay, Anthony Kay. Austin Hayes comes over from Cincinnati, 1 year, $6 million. Again, another. What's up with all these mutual options?
Yeah, they never happen. It's wild.
They never happen. 103 games for him last year, 105 OPS plus. All right, so there's a little outfield depth for you there. Sean Newcomb comes over from Boston and the Athletics. Eric Fetty-Wap comes over. He was with 3 teams last year in a 1 year, 1.5. Now, here are some of the trades that I think also kind of surprised people. Jordan Hicks coming over from Boston. And look, I know last year didn't go the way he wanted it to go between San Francisco and Boston, but arm talent, he's got it. So we'll see what they do with him. Luis Angel Acuna, not a switch hitter, comes over from the Mets. That's a wild story, man.
Can't do that.
It's a wild story. What's up with these people? He came over in the Luis Robert deal. Not a great start to the career. I do see flashes of a major league player. Give me a little Eddie Escobar comparison right there.
Easy.
You
5
love
to
you
a light.
Eddie. Chris Murphy, a relief pitcher, comes over from Boston. Everson Pereira, the outfielder, comes over from Tampa Bay. 23 games last year. He's a young guy. We'll figure out what we do with him. There are some other guys on minor league deals. How about Jared Kelenic? How about Lamont Wade Jr.? So a lot of parts in, Jake, which brings me to the lineup.
Give me that lineup, Coach. I'm in.
I think I'm looking and I'm liking. Our guy, Chase Maidroff, second base. We're going to talk about this infield, I think. Chase Maidroff at second base. Kyle Teal. I gave it the...
Yeah, I like that. South American accent.
Kyle Teal behind the plate. Then the guy that everyone wants us to talk about, Colson Montgomery. We're hearing comparisons to Gunnar Henderson, to Bobby Witt. Okay, like those comparisons. Miguel Vargas. I think we all remember the sad Miguel picture, but he's a player, man. He'll be at third base. Andrew Benintendi at left field. Murakami at first base. Austin Hayes out there in right field. Brooks Baldwin in center field. And Edgar Caro. You love you some Edgar Caro. On the bench, Corey Lee. Remember him from Houston? I thought he was going to be a baller. He might still be. Lennon Sosa, Everson Pereira, and Luis Angel Acuna round out the bench. Other names to watch in the mix. I mentioned Lamont Wade and Jared Kelenic. Tell me about the rotation, though, big dog.
Trev, I wouldn't say I'm looking and I'm liking. I'm saying Shane Smith, going to be 26. Davis Martin, Sean Burke. You mentioned what Anthony Kay did across the big pond. And Eric Fetty coming back to the south side trying to figure it out. And then in that bullpen, hey, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Jordan Leisure, Grant Taylor, Sean Newcomb, man. That was another kind of sneaky one in there as lefty relievers go. Mike Vassell, Brandon Iser. You mentioned Jordan Hicks. Can he find something? And then Rule 5, is that Jetixon Paez?
Love that.
I don't have the full scouting report. At a certain point, I need to be honest with the people. And I'm excited to see him, and I hope he breaks camp with them. Love Rule 5, man. That blows my mind every year. Hey, you can come to camp, and if you make the team, awesome, or you're just back with your homies who forgot about you for a spring. One of the weirdest things we have. Trevor, these Chicago White Sox, 237 with runners on base last year. Woof. OPS of 666, your number against right-handed pitching. There's a lot of youth. And again, in baseball, that can send you in a lot of different directions. But as we've kind of alluded to, there's something fun about this team. We've got a new segment this year, Who's Gonna Deliver, presented by Amazon. Just like how Amazon is there to save the day when you're in a pinch, let's talk about the player who is going to step up and save their team when it matters most.
They made moves. I mean, they're trying, right, to kind of change the culture up there, change what we're seeing on the field. They got some young guys coming up. I think the biggest storyline that there's two. I mean, it's Murakami and Colson Montgomery. I think those are the guys you're focused on in this lineup, and what can they be? I mean, from early, viewings of Montgomery at the big league level, he's a stud. I mean, he's a freaking stud. The season he put up last year, I know it was not a full season, but to come up and do that in your age 23 season is no small feat. And I think there is an interesting story. If you're not a White Sox fan, you might not know this, but he started last year in AAA, was so bad out of the gates. They sent him down to the Arizona complex, not the Arizona League. He wasn't playing games. It was like a one-on-one hitting camp for him. And the guy's name is Fuller. It's like the director of hitting for the White Sox. It was just them in a cage, man, and maybe some live pitching. You'd face the Traject system as well, which is like the computerized version of pitchers, and they just spent a bunch of time. And I got to be honest with you, like that would have been tough for me to do. Like, hey, like you're taking me out of I was so bad, you're taking me out of baseball to go get hitting lessons. And he said the first thing Fuller told him was, what an opportunity we have. And that totally changed his mindset, because this guy's got dog in him. Listening to him talk about that, he was basically like, this, like, what am I doing? I want to play ball. And he said that first line got him. And he went down there, put the work in, goes back to AAA, balls out, goes to the big leagues and balls out. So, like, this is a very, very cool story. I don't recommend doing that for every single player, but I think it was right for him, obviously. So we'll see how his second year goes. And then, Murakami, I think we're all very, very anxious to see how it translates over here to Major League Baseball, because I think a lot of people are too worried about one deficiency in the swing. Like, let's talk about some of the positives he brings. And it's the most efficient way to score runs, power, homers. This guy's got it in spades. So those two guys, I think, are pretty obvious, like what to watch for in 2026. But they're going to be, it's going to be one of the like most watched teams at the beginning of the season. I think like them and the Pirates are going to be like, okay, let's see what we got here.
Thank you to our partners at Amazon. Shop Amazon, save on essentials, and save the everyday. You can open it up to the whole infield, man. Miguel Vargas was a league average hitter last year, which, okay, I know we need more than that, but let's find out. Chase Mydroth and how he's been hyped. Yes, I like Edgar Caro because he mashed lefties, and if I've got a skill you can do at the big league level, I can build off of that. As you can hear in the tone, I just get a little excited, feeling like a page has been turned with the Chicago White Sox. Between Luis Robert kind of being the last memory of that kind of that failed White Sox team. And dude, remember all the stories that came out about that organization and how bad the clubhouse was and all the organization? We got to move on. And I hope this is a step in the right direction. And again, like, I guess I need to say the excitement in my voice, the over-under on this team, brought to you by DraftKings, is 66.5. So, like, it's not like I'm I guess I have excitement for where the bar has been set. And the bar hasn't moved up. We're not aiming for 500. We're not even aiming for a little under 500. We're just trying to get clear of 100 losses. And that 66 number maybe is a little more tricky than I initially thought. But for what this White Sox team, 60-102 last year, let's get 100 losses in our rear view. That would be nice, huh?
So you haven't picked a side yet there. Before you do, go look up Prelander Baroa's Savant page, because he'll be coming back from TJ this year along with your guy, Drew Thorpe.
The
Thorpe. So a little reinforcements. I don't know exactly when they'll be back. They both had TJ March of last year. 66.5 for this team. I don't know if it's like recency bias and like kind of like a decently exciting offseason. I want to go over. I do. Are you looking at Prelander Baroa's?
I did. It's a nice little page there.
It's a real nice page, Coach.
It's a nice page.
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna follow my instinct early on, and this could blow up in my face, but not only do I like the young guys, this gets a little dumb. I like the positions, man. I like. Not only do we have two good options at catcher. I think Teal's the guy. Colson Montgomery has a real chance. The whole infield does. And the other thing that's looming here, and I guess year in, year out, we don't know what to do with this. That Central Division, man, I just don't know. I don't know where your Twins are going to land this year. We know the Guardians always find a way to be competitive. Like, if this team could get out of the starting blocks within around 500 month and just feel that. Like, I think that would be massive. I don't believe it'll happen. I'm taking the over. They made an effort this offseason, and I want that to matter.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm taking the over. I want them to be rewarded as well. I think they do have some talent here. I definitely like the lineup. I think we'll see how it goes. I could end up really liking the lineup. That's the thing. So I got to give them over. Want to put a real number on it. I say give them 69 wins.
And how about this?
I want to say 70, but I feel that's really bold.
They moved up 2 spots from last year's rankings. And hey, that 1-run game thing is insane. Like, if we can just turn a couple of those, we're there. So I don't know. White Sox hype train has left the station. Get on board, people. And speaking of get on board, Trevor, in 27th place, the Minnesota Twins, who finished 70-92 last year, 18 games back. Looking around the page, 23rd in runs scored, 23rd in starting pitcher ERA, 26th in reliever ERA. They dropped 8 spots in our rankings year over year. This offseason, Eddie Julien and Pearson Ole. We talked about where they are now in Colorado. Christian Vasquez, that is over. Michael Tonkin remains unsigned as we finish this recording. A couple other guys around the horn. Genesis Cabrera, Mizowitz, Jose Miranda. Remember the hit streak? That was insane. Trev, who came home to the Great Lakes?
They actually did bring some people home. You're right about that. I'll start with Taylor Rogers. How about that? Comes over. He was in Cincinnati, Chicago last year. Teammate of mine back in the day. Stud. Had a great time with him at Twins Fest. Josh Bell comes over to fill the first base, kind of like DH void. 1 year, 5.75. Last year in Washington, 110 OPS plus. Hit 22 homers. He's a big dude. You like that? Victor Caratini is interesting to me. He comes over on a 2-year, $14 million deal from Houston. We kind of know what he can do. League average catcher. They got Ryan Jeffers there. Does that make him expendable trade bait. I mean, we've been talking about that forever. Love me some Jeffers in those thighs, but Caratini comes over and he's a very, very obviously servable starting catcher. So you like that. Anthony Banda comes over in a trade with the Dodgers. Eric Orzi from Tampa Bay. Alex Jackson, catcher from Baltimore. Wagamon, a guy who's a utility player from Miami. And Tristan Gray, an infielder from the Red Sox. They also brought in a few old dogs again. Liam Hendricks, welcome.
Wow.
Gio Urshela, welcome back. Orlando Arcia, your brother used to play with the Twins. And also Andrew Chafin comes over. Yeah. So it's, Julian Merriweather. And we're talking about some olds. Some olds came over. And that brings me to the line.
Yeah.
Which I know what you're going to say.
No, we bang. We bang in Minnesota.
I like the lineup, Jake. There's some ifs here.
There's ifs.
Starting out right away. Top of the lineup, Byron Buxton. Hell of a year last year. He's a guy that I think has, and we know this, he has superstar potential. Like when he goes, he really, really goes, especially in center field. He's just so fun to watch. Luke Keyshaw, a guy that you're going to be hearing a lot of, I guarantee it. Absolute dog, second base. Broke his wrist last year. I think it was Kyle Hendricks hit him. So that kind of sucks. But he's back looking good. Josh Bell in that 3-hole playing first base. Matt Wallner, who we talked about making some adjustments. He got some of the best bat speed in the league. He'll be cleanup in right field. Ryan Jeffers behind him at catcher. Trevor Larnach, just a solid hitter out there in left field. Royce Lewis, biggest what do we got type of situation. Because he could easily be the best hitter on this team. And he's shown flashes of that, but he's had some injuries that have slowed him down a little bit. Victor Caratini can be that DH. And then Brooks Lee, he's going to be the shortstop now. He's got some things to figure out on both sides of the ball with his swing and then, not learning to play shortstop, but becoming a good everyday shortstop. It's a different thing in the big leagues. I like him a lot. Like the lineup. We'll see how it goes. I also like the depth they have on the bench. If they end up going with 3 catchers, which they might, Alex Jackson, Cody Clemens, the guy that can play multiple positions. We saw him last year there. Austin Martin is another guy who I think might find his way into the starting lineup more often than not. And then James Outman of the Los Angeles Dodgers is over there as well. And again, I mentioned some other guys. Walker Jenkins is a massive prospect. Emmanuel Rodriguez, he's a massive prospect. Both of those guys have an extreme hit tool. We'll see if they're up at some point this year. But that's the lineup, which I like. Now we get into something that could have been a plus in the rotation, but we had some bad news.
Tough, Coach. If we recorded this a few days earlier, we would have mentioned Pablo Lopez at the top with Joe Ryan, but unfortunately, torn UCL. We'll see him when we see him. But it is Joe Ryan, the Nightmare Bailey Ober, Simeon Woods Richardson, Taj Bradley, and Zebby Matthews. Little Mick Abel and David Festa fighting their way in. You mentioned Liam Hendricks battling. Taylor Rogers is back. Justin Topa, he's got some stuff. Funderburk, Sands, Orzi, Banda. Trev, these are your Minnesota Twins, and I'm going to let you run, obviously, because you are the pulse of the nation here. I will tell you this, as much as I like to throw some jabs at you. That bottom of the lineup, I did a little head tilt. Royce Lewis came into last year as one of the, if you were doing a top young players in baseball, and he got baseballed last year. And sometimes that humble pie will bring you back. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's where you leave. But look at him and Brooks Lee on the left side of the infield. Couple big draft picks. If those guys are something over there, it changes the tenor of this season and the next 5.
I don't know if I'll just be honest. I don't know if Brooks is the long-term answer at shortstop. Defensively wise, he can move a little bit, but I think he's better suited for a second base. But I think Keyshaw is going to take that over. So he kind of has to figure it out. And Royce, he dealt with some injuries, and I think he was a little stubborn to make some changes and adjustments to his game that I think he now knows he needs to, because he's not he's not firing the same as he did
Right.
before injuries. And maybe he got that back with a healthy offseason, and we'll just kind of see that back. But that was kind of the deal last year. Storylines for the Twins. New guy running the team, Tom Pohlad, took over for his brother, Joe. And he's been saying all the right things about wanting to kind of like he wants this team to be competitive. He does not want to go into a rebuild. He wants to spend money, but he wants to do it smartly. Like, he's been saying the right things. I mentioned I had a Zoom call with him. So I think the biggest storyline will be, we got new manager in Derek Shelton, Jeremy Zoll, now the GM with Falvey out. So, like, there's some new regime change stuff happening. But if this team does get off to a decent start, like, are we going to see any additions? I think that's what Twins fans want to see. Like, okay, like, you're saying the right things, Tom, but if we get out to a banger of a start, like, are you going to supplement this team? Because the last time we did that, 2023, they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. And I think that was a massive misstep on their part. And that's fresh in the mind. So I think that's interesting. If it goes the other way, Jake, and this is just a bad start and it's not looking good early on in the season, we could be seeing some trades here. No doubt about it. So I think the beginning of the season's a big, what do we got here for the Twins?
Yeah, and the Carantini Jeffers situation is interesting. Like, how is that going to play out between catcher, DH? Does first base come into play for Josh Bell? Like, what rotation happens there? And like, what is this lineup built on? Because if Buxton's out there playing, we know what that guy is. Keishel, unfortunately for me, Trev, like, just outside genuine fan, like, I saw Royce Lewis last year. I saw Edwin Julien the year before that like, a couple of these guys, and I'm genuinely not pointing the finger at you for the hype train, but it was like, oh, these guys we saw them perform at the major league level, and then the next step didn't happen. That, I guess, unfortunately, Keishel, who Jolly Olive is a big fan of, like, he has a chance. I guess I feel I'm a little gun shy. And then, like, Matt Wallner throws me off every year because I look at the stats at the end and I'm like, Jesus, Matt Wallner did it again, but there's also an injury and there's one stat that feels off that this lineup has a chance. And I guess I didn't think that coming in.
I did my job then, Coach.
You got me. Everyone knows, come here for your Twins updates throughout the season. Trev, they're over under this year. 73.5 by the DraftKings Sportsbook. So we've upped the ante a little bit. I made a tier comment before. This might honestly be the next step. 73.5, you're playing competitive ball.
I worry about the pitching staff. And is this before or after the Pablo Lopez news?
This is after.
This is after?
after.
I'm curious what they were before.
This is after.
At least 3 wins more.
Pablo Lopez is a very good pitcher, yes.
Okay, so 73.5 after the Pablo Lopez move. I believe they are going to go make a play for one of those pitchers. It's going to be Scherzer, Giolito, or Littell. Gosh, man, this one's tough.
Max Scherzer.
I think I've done it every single year. I'm taking the over, Jake. I have to. I bleed navy and red.
I know you do.
That's not a thing.
It's not yet. Trev, I don't know, man.
Bullpen scares me, Jake. I'll tell you that.
And hey, but I do think that's a place they deserve credit, man. I mean, some of the guys that came out of that Minnesota bullpen in the past few years that they did trade away from. I'm just worried that this is the last step of a retool. Like, when the trade deadline comes around this year, if Minnesota has the ability to turn in Trevor Larnach into something, Josh Bell, like, we've already heard. I didn't want to say his name, but your guy Joe Ryan. I will take the under. Again, they won 70 games last year. I don't know if they got better. I don't know if the division got better. And okay, being rude to the Nats shrapnel, a tradition on TPPs. The path for the Twins is easy to see. Like, They need basically two infielders to step up. Buck Daddy stays healthy, and you can have a average to plus lineup, and then hopefully you can get enough pitching from there. But I don't know. I don't know if they want to compete this year.
I think they do want to compete. And I will say this. We're talking about Colson Montgomery's. We're talking about J.J. Weatherholt, which we'll get here in a second. Walker Jenkins is a prospect of that stature. Now, has he done it like Colson did at the big level? No. But from all accounts, this guy is like the real deal. That changes a lineup quickly if you add a guy like that in there. So I'm optimistic every year with the Twins. I get a lot of shit for it. I'll take the over. I'm fine with you taking the under because I could see a path for that, obviously, as well.
Our final team for this first set of team profile and projections, your St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis is retooling. They went 78-84 last year. They were 24th ranked in last year's TPP. So, yeah, I mean, St. Louis is going through an overhaul, and they continued that this offseason. I mean, a lot of familiar faces out of town. We mentioned Miles Michaelis. Brendan Donovan traded to Seattle. Nolan Arenado's in Arizona. Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray are in Boston. Michael Ciani's out of town. A couple other bullpen arms. But really starting off a new era of St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Trev, who did they bring in?
Interesting additions for the St. Louis Cardinals. Dustin May gets 1 year, 12 from them. We're always high on Dustin May. Didn't really work out last year between LA and Boston, but the arm talent is still there, and we'll see what they can tap into. Ryan Stanek, my guy, 1 year, $3.5 million. He comes over for the Mets, 65 games last year to a 5.3, so needs to get back into what we've seen him do before. Your guy, Richard Fitz, in a trade from Boston. He came over in that Sonny Gray trade. 11 games, 10 games started last year to a 5. Hunter Dobbins also comes over, and that was in the Wilson Contreras trade. 11 games started for him, 61 innings pitched to a 4.13. Justin Brule from the Guardians comes over. Then we have some minor league deals of Nelson Velasquez, Jared Schuster, Scott Blewett. As we always mention, not a great name for a reliever. They also re-signed Yohel Pozo after non-tendering him. So they brought in some guys, which brings me to the lineup. And this is interesting to me, Jake. I think they have some guys coming, and like this is a lineup that I'm like, all right, I it's young, it's damn young. This might be one of the youngest lineups in all of baseball, but I like it. Lars Nootbaar at the top, Ivan Herrera, DH in the 2-hole, Alec Burleson, really nice year last year, looking to capitalize on that. Nolan Gorman, who's like one of the elder statesmen of the team now, kind of crazy. Mason Wynn at shortstop, and then the guy we're going to be talking about quite a bit, J.J. Weatherholt, holding down second base. Then we got Jordan Walker, Pedro Pajes, Victor Scott II rounding out that lineup. And then on the bench, I mentioned Pozo, Jose Fermin, Thomas Segasi, another guy who's going to be in contention for some starting some starts in that lineup. And then Nathan Church rounding out the bench. Jake, tell me about the starting rotation in the bullpen.
Yeah, like we mentioned, you can like a lot of these guys. I don't know if you like them all in one rotation together. Matthew Liberatore, Dustin May, Andre Palante, your guy, Michael McGreevy, Kyle Leahy. So, okay, there's something there we can work with. And then you mentioned Dickie Fitz. We got a couple prospects on the way, Henson Matthews. In the bullpen, Riley O'Brien, Joe, what do you know, Romero, Stanek, Matt Svanson. Go check out those stats from last year. You mentioned Brule, Roykov, Graceffo. We got another few guys fighting for innings out there. Soriano, Fernandez, Schuster. A changing of the guard in St. Louis. one of the great baseball cities we have, and a city that doesn't have a lot of losing baseball years, especially to this level. The Cardinals have not had consecutive full seasons winning less than 80 games since 58-59. Yo. Quite the impressive resume right there. And I guess, Trev, I know I feel like with these I point you in a direction. I don't really know where you go. Is it lineup excitement? Is this year with the Heim Bloom reset this org is doing? Is this just we don't know what we have, let's find out? Because that's kind of how I'm feeling.
That is it. I think they're going to let these guys go out there and play and see. They're going to dictate the future of the organization. I guess that's every single team. But they have, like I said, this is a very young roster. I actually just I forgot that I read this, that Heim Bloom wants Ivan Herrera to catch, which leaves open the DH position, which a lot of fans are wondering, like, okay, like he's one of our better bats. He's not going to catch every day. Is it smart to take him out of that DH role? So we'll see how that plays out. But they do have some bats they want to get, or bats they want to get in the lineup every day, and that would definitely help them do that. So I think that's something that fans will look towards. There's guys here, man, with massive potential. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw this lineup go out there and like start winning baseball games and start like scoring runs. Like, there's, again, like Alec Burleson had a hell of a year last year. So like, if he continues that trend, we're looking at like a real deal middle of the order bat. Jordan Walker has just about every tool you want as a hitter. If he could just kind of, have better pitch recognition and swing decisions, you could be looking at a real deal middle of the order bat there as well. So there's guys here, but the one guy that keeps being brought up as like a potential multi-time all-star is JJ Weatherholt. It sounds like he's going to get the nod at second base. I asked Beavers to get his swing up, and I said, hey, there's two guys that he reminds me of, and here we go. See if you can do it.
Okay, I have one.
Okay. There's one like really like close comparison.
So my knee-jerk reaction, and again, I forgot I was warned about this exercise. My knee-jerk reaction was I saw Andrew Benintendi.
Oh, wow. I didn't have him there. I had Alex Verdugo and a little Jock Peterson.
Okay. I had Jock. Okay. Dalt said he had Jock.
I had Verdugo.
Beebs had Verdugo, so fuck me, right? Give me that first swing again. That's a little doogie, yeah.
Yeah. Look, those guys, obviously Jock has made a great career out of banging the ball around, and Alex Verdugo has had his time in the sun as well. This guy's supposed to be better than both of them, according to all the reports. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, as far as what to expect in 2026, I don't think anybody knows, Jake. Like, it is legit like Heim saying, let's go play, see what we got type situation. But as we're getting into this lineup and like thinking about what each of these guys kind of does and the tools that they have, like, it's like kind of a nice mixture there. You got some pop, you got some defense, you got some young guy, or mostly young guys. Like, it's hard to project, but I think you can be excited about the lineup. As far as like overall winning in 2026, I think that's where we kind of like might question a little bit. I don't know about the starting pitching, and I think there's a lot of like guys like, okay, like average type starting pitching. I think that's kind of maybe even generous for that. So that kind of caps like the win total a little bit.
Yeah, I guess an interesting little head tilt for me as I look at the lineup and I look at the pitching. Again, and I should have said this at the top instead of an hour in, but you guys know your team more than me, and I don't fully know what the Cardinals gossip is. Not that I can dream on the pitching. I guess I would be very surprised if this pitching is bottom 5. Like, I don't know what pieces are going to come together. I kind of like the start of their bullpen. There's a couple guys in the rotation that I think 3 out of 5 of them I think can perform. Like, McGreevy put together a solid season last year. He's projected to be, and who knows? I don't live by projections, but like, I don't know. The hitting actually scares me a little more. When I look at last year's lineup, I have Wilson Contreras and Brendan Donovan, and then I have 107 games from Ivan Herrera. And those were like my plus hitters. Alec Burleson, he deserves some love too. But now that I look at this, I'm like, okay, well, Contreras is gone. Donovan is gone. Herrera, we're talking about him catching, DHing, it's just not a conversation I love for a young player going into the season. I'm like, who is going to bring it for me day in, day out on offense? And two of their guys are gone. That I think the pitching can find a way. If I need the hitting to really click, I need Mason Wynn to tick up. I need Nootbaar to come together, which I feel like we've been saying that for how many years now? Jordan Walker, that I don't know, just this is Jakey Spidey sense. I think the pitching is going to find a way. I don't see the path with the hitting.
I think Nootbaar has a heel issue too, which might keep him out. I don't know if they've reported that yet in camp, like where he's at. And so that will kind of put a wrinkle in everything as well, as far as who's going to be in that starting outfield. But I mean, they do have depth in the starting pitching rotation, bringing those guys over from Boston. I'm higher on this team than I thought I was going to be.
Okay. Well, let's do the final test, Coach Trev, with the last over-under. DraftKings over-under for your St. Louis Cardinals, 69.5. So we actually, in our fan rankings, Minnesota is projected to win more games than them. 69.5, Trev. This team last year, they won 78. So I don't know. Where are you leaning?
I think this happens to me every single year. Like at the bottom of our fans' rankings, I am just like, all right, I could see them. It's hard for me to envision a bunch of teams losing like 100 games.
Right.
So I tend to be a little bit more optimistic early on, and maybe I need to switch that up. But I'm going over here. I got them in the 70 win range.
I have that line too low. Like I'm not optimistic about this Cardinals team, but that number just feels off to me. I'm with you, Coach. I think it's over. And I have to admit, you admitted it with your Twins. Winter meetings, I'm a part of this Cardinals team this year, so I have to go along for the ride. And I don't know, like, did they get 10 wins worse? Like, was Arenado, where his final numbers? I don't know. I'll be very interested to hear what comes out of their clubhouse this year. Like, who are the leaders on this team now? Like, you mentioned dirt in your spikes. Like, it's kind of, I guess guys are looking at Nootbaar and Burleson, and maybe. What could be cool about this Cardinals team is you could start a new era of Cardinals baseball, whether it's Wynn, Weatherholt, Herrera, Jordan Walker. Like, if some light bulbs go on there, you can really start getting excited for the next year. I don't know. St. Louis has not dealt with a lot of losing baseball-wise in that town, that it's going to be interesting to see. If it does get dark, how dark does it get? Or maybe these Cardinals coaches know what they're doing and they have some good taste. Coach Trev, grinder, but that's what we do. Anything else you need to get out?
I wish everyone's team a successful 2026. Look at
that. We kind of are rooting for that. Let us know what we got right. Let us know what we got wrong. Thank you guys so much. We'll have more team profile and projections coming up. We're going to have more regular episodes. We're almost there, people. We're almost home.
Okay, Jake, boy.
Power change.